There has been much hype, much discussion, and much consternation about the role of artificial intelligence and machine learning, and are the robots taking our jobs? For Tech Republic and ZDNet, I'm Dan Patterson, and it's a pleasure today to speak with Eitan Vesley. He is the CEO of Presenso, a machine learning and analytics firm based in Haifa, Israel. And they focus on a really unique challenge. That challenge is fixing machinery or helping optimize machinery, actual physical machines, using machine learning and artificial intelligence. Eitan, thank you very much for your time today. I wonder if you could first tell me a little bit about how you bridge that gap between software machines and hardware machines.
Sure. Maybe I will start with a few backgrounds or introductory words about myself. So I'm a mechanical engineer by education. So most of my experience as an engineer was in industrial automation, process monitoring and control, supporting machines in production lines. And as part of my role, I used to support customers with failed machines, where their production line would stop, specific machines would crash. And as a support engineer, what I would do first is try to understand what happened, what is the root cause of the problem, and doing that by analyzing and looking through tons of data. And when I say analyzing, of course, it's doing it myself, manually, sometimes using Excel, sometimes using, other types of software. But then the idea occurred together with my co-founders, why not doing it automatically, the same data, the far more advanced analysis, but the main difference is do it before the machine fails rather than after it failed and stopped production. So by employing or enabling, bringing machine learning capabilities or AI to the industrial market today, this is building the bridge, I would say, between machine learning and actual machines in the field.
What type of machinery are we talking about? There's a broad spectrum, of course, everything from automotive to industrial. What type of machines and how does your technology optimize the performance of those machines?
So there are few categories that we can look at. We are focusing mainly on the heavy process industries in which machines are big. They don't have a spare machine in the warehouse that they can just bring in and operate instead of the failed one. And there is a lot of data, hundreds and thousands of sensors in such a process. And this is our first market that we're focusing on, as opposed to, as you mentioned, to the discrete manufacturing, which is a bit different market segment, although it's all under the industrial umbrella.
How do you retrofit analog sensors with digital sensors?
Great. So this is a good question. We are not retrofitting anything. We are a software solution and not a hardware-based one. You're right. I mean, there are solutions which develop new sensors, whether they're new vibration sensors or new acoustic sensors, and then they really have to go and retrofit new types of sensors. Looking on the other side, these are the first category of solutions. On our side, we're talking about the software-based solutions. But we're experts in data analytics, not in the actual mechanics or physics of the machines. Looking inside the software solution, there are several types of solutions. Some of them are relying on low-level understanding of the machine itself. Normally, this is a digital twin approach. Where in order to monitor the machine, you really have to know how it's built and what's the physics that's happening there. On the other side of the spectrum, this is where we're at. It's a rather agnostic approach, saying, I really don't care what your machine is doing, what are the sensor measuring. I just need the data. I need some historical data to train on. Then we can predict forward how it's supposed to be behaving.
So that all makes sense. But before we move on, I don't want to stick on this point, but how do you gather information? I know it's not your core business, but how do you get reliable information from analog processing and analog feedback mechanism.
Yeah, so let's take one example. There is a power plant in Europe that we're monitoring today. Most of the data in these process industries, most of the sensors are already connected, and the information is flowing to a centralized database known as a process historian. So there are databases storing 3, 5, 10 years of historical data, which is just lying there, nobody really doing anything with it except for post-mortem analysis. So we are simply interfacing to that historian database and gathering thousands and tens of thousands of sensors and streaming them to our cloud. That's it.
So this totally makes sense, and I think that there is a lot of historic data that, as you reference, has been sitting around unutilized, and when you add it to machine learning systems, you can do some interesting things with it. How do you train your networks to properly tune towards one particular system versus a different client's systems? Do you use general adversarial networks? Are you using the data that you find, the historic data? How do you train systems to perform very specific tasks and not just general tasks?
Sure, this is an excellent question. And one of our main efforts and challenges was to develop a scalable and generalized system as much as possible with remaining agnostic to the specific asset itself. We believe that there is no one strong algorithm that can fit all cases and all sensors. And with that belief, we went out and developed what's known today as a meta-learning based analytic engine. With the meta-learning actually means that there are over, let's say there are a few dozens of very different algorithms used for data analysis. You know, one algorithm could be very good at one place and can be very less good, I would say, less fit in other places. And on top of these dozens of algorithms, which, by the way, they could be pure machine learning, they could be deep learning, they could be signal processing. So on top of that, what we call toolbox of algorithms, we have developed the main algorithm or the mother algorithm, which is responsible for the selection of the best performing analysis algorithm, to the calibration of it, and to the continuous validation of it. So all that process of selecting the tools, the algorithm you want to use with, you want to be working with, matchmaking them to a specific sensor is fully automated. Just as an example, if you take a power turbine with 500 sensors, you know, all the temperatures, vibration, voltages, currents, pressures, there's a very good chance that each and every one of them will be analyzed in a totally different way, which is tailor-made by the system specifically to that sensor. And that has proven itself. You know, when several evaluation process our customers performed, we have beat the competition. Also in internal benchmark that we've conducted, and also with market benchmark where customers perform.
How widely used are these systems, or how widely used will they be in the next, say, 18 to 36 months?
For sure, and I can tell you that from my experience in the last couple of years or even 3 years in that market, the level or the rate of adaptation or adoption is increasing, and we're now at a point that if Industry 4 was like, you know, something to speak about, now we see how the market is doing it. We have requests for a queries, requests for information and for quotes from people who are actively looking for these. And I expect it will increase in the next 18, 36 months. It will definitely increase.
Eitan Vesley, the founder and CEO of Presenso, an Israeli machine learning and artificial intelligence firm. Itai, I wonder if you could leave us with a forecast for mechanical systems in the next year or so. You know, I kind of set this up with a bit of a MacGuffin. You know, the machines are coming to take our jobs. I wonder if we could dispel this myth. Technology has and always will replace historic jobs, but in what ways is artificial intelligence, particularly applied to mechanical systems, creating jobs and creating an environment of new economies?
Sure. So first of all, let's speak about that part of taking jobs first. And Eventually, you know, as a mechanical engineer, every machine will need maintenance, and the maintenance, at least in the next decade or 2 decades, will be done by people actually going down to the machine and replacing the parts. So this is one part of the story. With that said, of course, there's a lot of opportunities to new roles, new jobs that are being opened, whether it's data scientists or application engineers that will know how to work with these analytic tools. We do see today, you know, traditional firms that for decades are hiring mechanical engineers are now looking into developing their own software services to the machines that they sell. So again, the new, at least my 2 cents is that the need in data scientists will increase very fast in the industrial sector.